Once more, you're heartily welcome to the program for presentation. I am attending Larry Kevin Sabot. We start off with this Tuesday's edition with the first paper for today, The Sun. The Sun newspaper of Nobel Waso from Limbe have as lead story, no parliamentary municipal elections in 2025. That's a big caption you can read on that paper as you can find it on page 2 for The Sun newspaper for this day. And it has said The Sun newspaper, vote SDF and you will get free ID cards. That is the campaign promise of the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, SDF. That is Joshua Osi. And Douala Port Authority acquires 500 hectares of land to expand reinforced maritime operations. Mezam Senior Divisional Officer asks population to collaborate with government forces for the return of normalcy. And Barrister Nkongo Agbo Felix says it's an honor to be recognized by the American Bar Association. That is what you can find on that said publication for today. Investigating for this morning is reporting on the social corporate responsibility of SCDP in the Marwa town in the far north region. It says the good operation of SCDP. That is what you can read on Investic Info newspaper for this morning. From Investic Info, we crossed over to Info Matin for this day. Talks of electricity, 84 billion CFA France put in place for PASEC to execute her job. You can find details on that paper for today. Le Popoli newspaper, the satiric newspaper, reports on how A2D has become Sodom and Gomorrah. That is what you can find on the paper for this morning of Le Popoli, making attribution to the first daughter of the president there, making out with a purported friend of hers. Get to read details on that paper for this morning. Mitasiong for this day talks of stamp on the national identity card. He says the lion part. That is what you can read on that said paper of Mitasiong of Thierry Tiaga. Yaoundé says explosion that destroyed. Get to read more on that explosion that took place yesterday in one of the neighborhoods in Yaoundé. The Martinez Zogo affair, bottom page story. The paper reports on how we are awaiting the verdict from the appeal court on the Martinez Zogo affair. That is what you can find on that publication still for today. We now take you to Cameroon Tribune, who is still 50 years. Cameroon Tribune talks of the extension of mandates of the municipal figures. Again, that is what you can find on that said paper for today. 2024 AFCON qualifiers, group within reach for Cameroon. That's a question the paper is asking on the 2026 build-up qualifiers for the African Cup of Nations. We move on to this improved rice seeds. It talks of new distribution chain. Get to read more on that agricultural sector in the nation Cameroon. Away from that, let's now take you to the Guardian Post for this morning. It talks of Yaoundé, fuel tanker explodes, raises several houses. That is what you can find on that said paper for today. PCRN leadership tussle, pro-Robert Conan faction suffers setback in court and National Assembly. Finance Minister says 2025 state budget to witness slight increase. Again, that is what Report Motors says on the Guardian Post on page 8. And come to Zongang, MRC West Regional Boss summoned by the Gendarmerie office in the West region of Bafoussam. Central region, the paper talks of 4 from same family die after eating alleged poison food. Get to read that human interest story on page 3 of the Guardian Post. From the Guardian Post, we move on to Newswatch of Eugene Z. Says sign of resilience or resignation. Battle-weary Bamenda ranked cheapest city to live in. That is what you can find on that said paper for this day. The voice of Randy Joseph for this morning talks of as Atanganji Parliament consolidates regime power, electoral reforms spark outcry ahead of 2025 polls. In that said publication, English language newspaper publishers plan premiere awards. And we move forward with this other story. Acclaimed Nollywood actor producer Otia Vitalis laid to rest in his native northwest region. Get to read details on the funeral that unfolded. And we move forward with a paper from Zian Division. Cameroon Echoes talks of with Diba William Etwe says at emergency cabinet meeting, John Guti ministers examine electoral calendar. In that said publication, the United Council and Cities of Cameroon, known for short as UCCC, Annual Regional Assembly for the Southwest Chapter, it says Southwest mayors adopt common basket fund for project maturation. We move on to the PS seminar of the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife, improved living conditions of local communities, according to the forestry minister who came to the southwest region. That is Jules Dorendongo. Dignitaries brace up for English language newspaper publishers award at the Yaoundé Hilton Hotel, slated for July 25. Away from that publication of Diba William Etwe, we crossed over to Le Quotidien for this morning. Le Quotidien talks of the Legion Gendarmerie office in the West Regional capital of Bafoussam, why Maurice Kamto was summoned. You want to find more on that said publication. For today, the Martinez Zogo affair, the process continue, and still in the West region, traditional rulers calls out to the Bishop of Bafoussam. You want to find more on that paper for this day. We move away from that publication to La Voix de Jeune. La Voix de Jeune talks of the National Medicine Corps. That is the face of anarchy. You want to find more on La Voix de Jeune newspaper for this day on the National Order of Doctors in Cameroon. The Parliamentary Affairs newspaper, Écho du Parlement, for this day talks of the June session of Parliament. Senate adopt 3 bills, other project law. You get to read more on that L'Écho du Parlement for this Tuesday morning. And ratification of the finance law, it says exercise 2024 adoption at the National Assembly. We move away from that publication now to Actualité. It talks of the Ministerial Council. It says the government prepares for all eventualities as the Prime Minister Joseph John Guti held a cabinet meeting there at the Star Building yesterday, and a new summon by the judiciary to Maurice Kamto. Get to read more on that said paper for today. We move away from that story to Horizon Nouvelle for this morning. Talks of Molondo. It says the bridge that link certain localities has now disappeared due to the adverse effect of torrential rainfalls. And we move forward with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, headed by Gabriel Bairobi, will report on billions of CFA francs put in place for the disposal of the Agricultural Research Institute, known in French as IRAD, for more agricultural productivity to be witnessed all across Cameroon. Away from that publication, we now take you to Tepromi Hebdo. It talks of 2 governors that were decorated by President Paul Biya during the regional governors biannual conference that took place in Yaoundé, as it was presided over by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji. We move away from Tepromi Hebdo newspaper following the decoration of Bernard Okala Bilai and Adolphe Lelil Afrique of the Southwest and Northwest regions respectively, to the next paper, that is Le Réveil. Le Réveil du Consommateur for this morning talks of the Olembe Park. It says imbroglio and total confusion still reigns in that Olembe Park. Get to read more on that said story. And Yaoundé, the city of garbage, the paper says what is happening with the city mayor of Yaoundé, Luc Messi Atanganang, as the nation's political capital city, is now a refuse dump. You can find more on Yaoundé being a refuse dump, and the inadequacy of the city mayor of the mayor of Yaoundé to react towards that environmental hazard. High cost of living. The paper talks of the certain supermarkets that have now reduced their prices in order to make sure Cameroonians cope due to the high cost of living, inflation, and other economic hardship that is facing the nation. We move on to our African tabloid. We start first with First News. First News talks of Fubara fights back, bold step to counter Amedoluwe led Assembly 7 late ultimatum. Hardship. Tinubu government unveils comprehensive measures to tackle high food prices. And Daily Independent for this morning report on federal government rolls out measures to crash high food prices. In that said paper, no tenure elongation for Rivers State local government chairman. Appeal court rolls out, and court adjourned Erufai suit against Kaduna Assembly to July 17, 2024. Resident grounds as fuel scarcity persists in Abuja, Lagos, and other cities in Nigeria. The Nation for this morning report, Rivers State crisis deepens, and in that said paper, Nigerian Air 26 billion naira investigation, EFCC squeezes Ethiopia Airlines CEO, and contractors get 3 months to fix 260 federal government roads according to that paper. The Punch for this morning, federal government suspends food import duty, partners state on farming, and queues spread all across Nigeria as petrol hits 1,100 naira per litre in the cities of Abuja, Lagos, and others. Outrage as Russian missile kills 33 in Ukraine, children hospital. And Vanguard for this morning, federal government opts for duty-free import of rice, beans, wheat, other grains, and end of the road for 9 billionaires kidnappers in Lagos, Nigeria. Bank borrowing from CBN skyrockets by 458% to 57.5 trillion naira. Team Nigeria ready to soar at the Paris Olympic Games that will be coming up this September. New Telegraph for this morning talks of Nigeria's resilience on 18-year-old census data misleading policy decision according to NPC. Federal government suspend duty taxes on food items for 150 days, and Rivers State crisis latest. Pro-Fubara Wike speaker, lawmakers hold parallel sitting, and 48 hours after whereabouts of abducted Gandoje journalists, families unknown. Get to read more on that set press freedom issue in Nigeria. Nigerian Tribune for this morning reports on federal government malls 150-day duty of free import window for food commodities. Court bars Rivers CG Clark from dealing with pro-Wike lawmakers. In that said paper, still with increased monthly allocation, states should abide by the new minimum wage when legislated, according to the Speaker of Nigerian Assembly, Godswill Akpabio. Nigerian News Direct for this morning talks of Kaduna journalists' families still in captivity, no contact established 3 days after their abduction. And we move forward with fuel scarcity. The National Petroleum Company of Nigeria, known for short as NNPC, blames weather for disrupting movement of PMS. Federal government suspend tax on rice, maize, and other staples. Business Day for this morning says Nigeria's private equity investment up to 322% on energy and e-tech, and we will take you to weapons smuggling search raise fresh security concern all across Nigeria. Federal government opts for food importation to ease cost of living all across Nigeria. Leadership newspaper for this morning talks of stakeholders caution federal government over ban on used vehicles importation, and bandits in Hajib kidnapped 25 persons in Katsina State in north central Nigeria. For scarcity, NPCL marketers passed the box as queues spread all across Nigeria. National Assembly says more death penalty for vandals of national assets. And this day, for this Tuesday, morning reports on petrol price soared to 900 naira per litre in Lagos. Others as queue resurface at filling stations. We move on to contain worsening food crisis. Federal government may suspend duty taxes on certain imports. We take you to Zenith Bank retain best commercial bank in Nigeria, best corporate governance awards, and we will wrap up the program with the last publication on our disposal. That is La Voix du Entreprise. La Voix du Entreprise for this morning talks of Zelekafi says Cameroon exports the first consignment. Get read more on that said paper. For today, Morocco, the paper report on CIH increase its capital. We move on to this other story from the Custom Department, where the Director General of Custom, Edwin Fongot Nevaga, reports on more than 1,000 billion CFA francs was generated by the Cameroon Custom Department in 2023. This follows the exclusive interview accorded to the Director General of Cameroon Custom, Edwin Fongot Novaga, with La Voix du